Vegeta, Punisher, Guts. What do all these characters have in common? Could you guess? They are all anti-heroes. Anti-heroes are one of my favorite character archetypes in fiction, driven with moral ambiguity and edge, usually being very cool and complex characters. In today's video, we are going to discuss on how to create the perfect anti-hero and the qualities they possess using the example of the Red Hood, aka Jason Todd. With that said, let's begin. There are 3 traits every anti-hero needs to be great, which are justified logic, a backstory and misbelief that shapes their perspective and motivation, and positive attributes that match the protagonist of the story. In this video, I will explain each of these traits and how to master them, and why they are important. So let's begin. The first quality needed to write an anti-hero is justified logic. What is meant by this is anti-heroes usually and should have some merit to their actions that justify why they do what they do on a logical level. In the case of Jason Todd from Under the Red Hood, he argues you can't stop crime to Batman, so he's controlling it instead, working with villains, taking over their operations, and killing anyone who goes too far.
I'm cleaning up Gotham, more than you ever did.
You're stealing territory from Black Mask and killing anyone who gets in your way.
Black Mask is just a part of the plan.
Plan? You're becoming a crime lord.
Yes, you can't stop crime. That's what you never understood. I'm controlling it. You want to rule them by fear, but what do you do with the ones who aren't afraid? I'm doing what you won't. I'm taking them out.
And it's working. Crime has decreased in Gotham. This is a simple way to make the audience root for the anti-hero and understand their actions on a logical level, and creating a natural questioning of which means is right between the protagonist and the anti-hero. Now, the backstory and misbelief. The second quality needed to write an anti-hero is a backstory that justifies their motivation and misbelief. The misbelief is the event that occurred in a character's backstory that causes them to have a false viewpoint of the world, and in this case, morals. Their backstory and misbelief should be the emotional tide that creates the motivation and viewpoint of the world that explains why they believe what they're doing is correct.
Oh, now hang on. That looked like it hurt a lot more. So, let's try and clear this up, okay, Pumpkin? What hurts more? A or B? Forehand or backhand?
This is shown with Under the Red Hood with Jason Todd from his time as Robin and his revival. He followed the same code as Batman, but unlike Batman, he always was a bit more hostile than necessary, filled with rage. However, the moment that made Jason snap was his death. His death by the Joker changed the way Jason felt about crime and how it should be handled, as Batman's philosophy of using fear to control villains was limited, but killing them is permanent, which is something Jason realizes after his death.
He returned to this world, but returned damaged.
Jason's death naturally led him to have trauma that also fuels his desire to kill criminals, in addition to his natural rage, which was always there from the beginning. This is an example of making the backstory and misbelief connect, causing a change in perspective and motivation of your anti-hero. Finally, positive attributes that match the protagonist. This trait is what makes them an anti-hero instead of a villain. They need to have some positive qualities and or similar qualities to the hero. Otherwise, they are just sympathetic villains. Batman and Jason Todd both hate crime and are determined to stop it no matter what, willing to sacrifice themselves to do it. They just have different methods in terms of how they handle crime, but at the core of who they are, Red Hood is not a villain. He wants what's best for the world. He just wants to do it his way because he thinks his way is the right way. In conclusion, to write the perfect anti-hero, you need to justify your anti-hero's actions logically, create a backstory or misbelief that fits them to have the motivation and beliefs they do currently, and they need to have positive attributes like the protagonist of your story to separate them from being a villain.